Hello, hello. This is Carolyn Williams and the Carolyn Williams Show, and I've got a lovely Christmas guest this morning, and it is the lovely Sajal Patel, who is waiting for me in terms of making sure she has a signal and a sound. And hello to you.
Hello there. Thank you very much for having me there.
You're welcome. I've been looking forward to it, and I'd love you to tell us a little bit about who you are in terms of your day job and your aspiration.
So, like I said, my name is Sajal Patel. I live in Surrey. I'm a financial controller for a company called Cadogan Tate Moving Services. We do moving and storage for private customers, corporates. We also have a fine art section for divisions in Miami, Chicago, New York, Los Angeles, Paris, and south of France as well. So that's been 9 years I've been working for them now. And I've also now moved into the property world. In June, I moved into that world. So I'm learning everything about that as well.
So a couple of months in there for the property community. I met you through Lakhi Singh, who obviously is the founder for the Alternative Property and Business Solutions community. And Sajal, I spoke to another young gentleman yesterday as part of that community, who I assumed wrongly that he was somebody that was in the property business, but he was only just starting. So I know, because you started in June, can you give any kind of advice to somebody who's now starting a property portfolio?
I'm still actually getting to grips with it, but from what you need to know all your strategies, have them all laid out, know exactly what strategy entails, what the pros and cons are for each strategy, what works for you, and then based on that, choose one or two strategies that you can then implement, become a master in it, and move forward in that. So that's where I am now, and that's the advice that I would give to anyone. At the same time, do tons of networking, learning. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need to go on a lot of courses to do all this, but without the experience or a mentor, it's very easy to fall in a deep hole. So unless if you have the background experience already from properties, you've got your own lets or anything, you might be fine. But for someone who's totally new to the whole industry, I really would suggest get a mentor, get the help, do the classes, and then go out and choose your strategies from there.
Great advice. Well done. I applaud the mentor part of it, because equally I am now a mentor myself, not in the property business, but as a mentor, I do believe that if I was in that position, because I always had role models, I call them role models. So wherever I was in grammar school or a college or in whatever industry, I think you have to have that role model who is there, and I would say that you aspire to be and become.
Yes,
so
that's true.
Yes, if you're in Surrey, I take it. Beautiful, yes. Beautiful place, Surrey. I love Surrey.
And expensive, yes.
Yes, it's very expensive. I stayed for about 3 weeks, and I explored Surrey, all of it really, and I just fell in love with so many areas there, and the trust houses.
Yes, they are amazing.
They are amazing. And you've got Sir Winston Churchill's Trust House on the Kent border there. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So coming back to you and your day job, does your day job as a financial advisor, controller, does that help you in the property business?
It helps with the number side. So when it comes to using Excel, a lot of people would probably, property gurus might just use pen and paper. I got told off. I have a bad habit of using scrap papers to do all my figures on before I put it onto Excel. And I was told, no, use everything on Excel. So it helps in the terms of, yes, you're not going to be using a lot of balance sheet stuff at the beginning, but then it also depends on what, based on whether you want to do in the personal side or if you want to open up a company. For me, it helps in the sense that I've got that background knowledge to be able to understand, do I want to open a company when I buy a property, or do I want it in a sole trader's name? So in that sense, it has helped me a lot. And then with the finance figure side, just putting all the figures on a spreadsheet and understanding where everything goes, that also has helped as well in that sense. It makes it a little bit quicker to understand, if anything.
Yes, I'm not a fan of Excel, I must admit. I'm more of a Word person than a graphic person. All the desktop publishing was great from Microsoft, but when it came to Excel, it depends how you look at boxes, I think.
Yes, no, you're right.
Yeah, the perception of boxes. Sajal, I've seen you on Instagram, I've seen you on Facebook, and I've seen you on LinkedIn. Yes. Would you say that as an entrepreneur, because I'd class you as an entrepreneur, because you're obviously somebody that is driving to increase your portfolio in the property market. So how do you perceive the digital era in that respect? Do you see it as well, you know, a networking would be another one. Would you say that you were a starter, a spotlight person, or a signature person in terms of the digital era?
I'd be a starter in the digital. With LinkedIn, to be honest with you, I don't use it as much. My post is there, but I actually I got told off for this, like, you have to start using all the platforms for the networking to showcase yourself, if anything.
Agreed.
This is who I am, this is what I do.
Yes.
So everyone gets to know you, because not everyone will be using LinkedIn who does use Facebook. Or not everyone uses Facebook, but some people use Instagram. So use all the platforms to actually showcase yourself, if anything. But I wouldn't even say I'm spotlighting at the moment. I'm just I'm creeping through the posts at the tunnel at the moment, trying to make myself out there.
Yes, it's a learning curve, but it's everything you said there was very wise. And Lakhi Singh is a great example of that. I mean, Lakhi is on LinkedIn and he does his lives there. He's on Facebook and he's on Instagram. You're quite prolific on Instagram, because I was watching my feed yesterday, and as my feed was going up, yours was coming up quite a bit. So I thought, well, you've got that one there. I would encourage you to use LinkedIn, because a lot of us who've been credible and created a name for ourselves, that tends to stay in LinkedIn. And so it's always a good fallback. You know, you're checking on somebody and you're going, okay, I'll have a look at them in LinkedIn. So I'm glad that you're there. I'm very pleased you're there.
No, thank you very much for the advice. It's something that I need to start doing from January. I think I was always under the belief that LinkedIn's more of a professional site.
Yes.
So, and I have to do a lot more writing on my posts, and I hate writing. Yeah. I'm more of a number cruncher. So when it comes to writing, I don't like it. So I've always thought, oh, maybe I'll just stay away from the LinkedIn side and just focus on Facebook and Instagram. But I think with the posts that I'm putting up on Instagram, and I'm sure you'll tell me if they're not suitable, I would be able to use those posts for LinkedIn. So next year in January, I'm going to be using all 3 social media sites for everything.
Instagram is great from a graphic point of view, and it's very powerful. But LinkedIn, you're quite right, it is professional, so they do need to know a little bit about you. And this is a program like my show gives you that kind of platform to say, this is Sajal Patel, and this is who I am, and this is what I do. Because unless you put that forward as a profession, people are just going to see the name. And I remember, because my brother was training in St. Mary's, London, as a doctor, and he had several friends whose surname were Patel.
You would get short of them.
So there are a few Patels. So that's why it's important to have Sajal as the differential, lovely name there, and face. And once you've got the name and the face and you're putting up, I would say they're very suitable on Instagram, because it's always about property and what's available and the price and the history. And I think that's an insight into where your passion is. True.
And I think LinkedIn will probably help me in the sense that I will also need to look for investors, for investor finance. So where Instagram isn't going to help me, LinkedIn probably will be able to help me in that sense. So that I need to do. Then I'm also trying to set up like a bookkeeping services of my own. So that's a third stream that I'm trying to do at the moment. So again, that will hopefully help me, because I'll just showcase myself as well and put myself out there as well. So there's quite a lot going on this at the moment, Carolyn.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. But you see, they're good. We call it juggling the balls in the air. But
Yeah.
to me, and whatever falls down, you know, and stays there is what's for you. So
True.
it's wise to do all those three things because they are products that you can offer other than just focusing on one stream.
Yes.
So well done on your mentor by the sound of it.
Yes.
Talking about mentors, who would you say has been influential in your life to date?
To be honest with you, I've never really followed anybody in that sense to get to where I have got to up to now. I've never looked at anyone and said, oh, I would love to be like them, or this person inspires me. I've had that question a few times, and I just sit there dumbstruck because I don't have an answer. I think I've literally just stepped myself up to where I am now just by what I want to do, what my why is. Lately with properties, in terms of that sense, I've been following Helen Chorley a lot, because in terms of women empowerment and everything, I really like the way her story and everything, from where she was a great from the financial corporate industry. She lost everything in the crash and she's rebuilt her own life. So in terms of that, I always look up for women entrepreneurs, especially when it comes to properties, because there's not many women out there in the property business. So that I also do. I do look up at her for that.
Great answer.
That's not my main person at the moment that I'm looking at. I'm not really much of a follower in that sense otherwise. Also, there's Tony Robbins for the affirmations, if anything.
Yes. Can you repeat her name again? I didn't quite catch it. Repeat her name.
Helen Chorley.
Chorley. Great. There are two people that I've interviewed and had chats with on a conversation with on the Carolyn Williams Show. One is Sonia Lambert, and she is on the community, the alternative property and business community. And she's larger than life. So you're beginning to see people like yourselves, and you will need to be the next generation, as it were, to break this kind of mold that I started in. When I went to Chamber of Commerce meetings, or if they were a BNI, or even the Institute of Directors, very few women. There were about, I would say, 3 women, and that's about it. And the rest were largely male. So it's changing. And LinkedIn, coming back to LinkedIn, I'm not pushing it. I'm not sort of trying to sort of, because I found it very old-fashioned in the beginning, but it is catching up with Facebook and Instagram. So what I'm seeing now is the change of the world leaders are becoming female world leaders. So you're beginning to see the change. We're on the cusp of the change here. Yes. So coming back to the 2 people I had, Sonia was one, but there was an actress from London called Annie Williams, and she's now gone to live in Bristol. She had a property in London, property in Bristol. So she's gone to live in Bristol, and I was quite impressed by her anyway, but she mentioned Viola Davis was her kind of aspiration in terms of acting. And I've not really taken much notice of Viola Davis, but as a result of that, I was watching something the other day, and of course she's got a film coming out, which is going to be a biggie. And wow, now I know who she is. So it's worth mentioning these names, because for some people, they don't come across it for whatever reason. So thank you for mentioning the 2. Tony Robbins, yes, is well known from the coaching angle, but not the lady you mentioned. So, okay, you sound single-minded, by the way. So single-minded and driven from that point of view. How would you say you gain your strength and stamina to be able to continue the small steps?
I think the property group that I'm in, we've become more of a very close-knit family now. There's about 10, 11 of us in the group. Yes. So bouncing ideas of each other is also helping. We support each other whenever we need help. So that has helped tremendously with me. Sometimes I think when it comes to properties, especially in my culture, for a woman to be doing it, it's like, oh, you're one of the black sheep of the family type of thing. So it's been difficult to get to even where I am now. But I've had a lot of support from my property group that I'm with. And again, Sonny Mahal, my coach, he's amazing. So he's been a very good support backbone there as well.
So reaffirming what I've said, there is a big change happening for women now. And I think this needs to be pursued. So if you gain strength from your network and your group, that's where you stay. And then you yourself become a mentor to take that on.
Yes, correct.
And I'm sure we'll hear more of this in time. How would you say Lakhi Singh's property community has helped you? Where does that fit into your kind of growth?
So with Lakhi Singh's group, the knowledge that I've gained from, he's like, I log on as much as I can with his morning and drive times as I can. They're quite early. Now that I'm working from home, I like my lines as well. So it's like trying to make sure I get up in time so that I log on as well. So it's been good. It's very knowledgeable. I've also been able to network through his group, which is great. Through him, I met Jack Dowra. He's another great pen coach and instructor as well. So he's been very helpful as well with for anything that I needed help with. So in terms of that, Lakhi's group has helped me. It's helped a lot of people that I've seen on the shows where they've been able to widen their networks, talk about what they do. It's been great in terms of just the networking and knowledge that we've gained from them. And it's not even that, it's the entertainment that they both provide. Like it's like the yin and yang. It's like you've got VJSal and you've got Lakhi, like two opposite characters, but they got on really well though.
That works. The mix was very strange to me in the beginning when I was listening to VJSal and I kept thinking, who is he? But he grows on you.
Yes, no, he does.
And there's a lot of humor and preparation going on behind the scenes that you're not aware of. So then when it's your turn as a third person to come on, it's very cleverly done. And as you said, the entertainment is necessary because the COVID era has become so disastrous for us. I know you're in lockdown, we're in lockdown again. So, I mean, years ago, we'd never have thought of the word lockdown, that, you know, what does lockdown mean? But we certainly know what that means now. How has that affected you, Sajal, in terms of what you do?
Well, to be honest, we've been working from home since March. There was a lot of people that was furloughed and there was about a very small portion of us that was working from home. And then once lockdown did end in August, we were doing 1 day a week in the office, which then I think from September it went back into lockdown, so we came back from just working from home again. So for me, business is normal. Nothing has stopped from me in that sense. Where yes, my workload probably went up for a few months, but other than that, it's been juggling my day job and then the new property business that I've been trying to grow on. So it's been a busy ride really for me, the lockdown has.
Sajal, here I am with the question that I would ask next would be your mentoring, your network. I'm a networker, I'm a huge networker. And that was because I was a fitness professional in the era when it was mushrooming in terms of London and around the world in terms of, you know, anywhere in America. Aerobics and weight training and circuit training was the thing in many, many fitness studios. So looking at that era, I can remember it being, the networking was a sport of the 90s. Now we're in the 2020 going into 2021. How important do you see the digital era, the networking era through being online works for you or not?
Amazingly, it's especially with the lockdown. If we think about it, with lockdown, no one was expecting it to last for this long. And the fact that there's been so many Zoom online meetings, there's online meetups, there's so many different ways that people have introduced these new online forums. It's actually helped a lot with networking, because had none of this have happened, we wouldn't have been able to meet up to go outside to do any network or anything. So it would have paused a lot of people's businesses, the aspirations to carry on with what they want to do with the future. So in that sense, it's been amazing that the new digital world is just so great, where you don't expect so many different platforms. There's Zoom, there's Teams, there's Skype. It's just crazy how many new platforms that we can use to network on, and the fact that we've all been able to do it, carry on doing it still, is amazing. And to be honest, I'd still like to be able to carry on with it even when lockdown does end, purely because sometimes it's not easy to rush to a different destination to go to a meetup. Absolutely. Whereas if you're online, you could easily just jump in and like log onto your phone and still be looking at how everything's being done. So I think it's been a great benefit.
It is for me, because this is how I met you.
Yes.
And it creates a different kind of relationship, but it still comes back to trust, and it still comes back to the connection. I call it connectivity. So a lovely answer from you, because each generation has a different way of looking at it. And I know most young people today are very savvy in terms of the internet, but not everybody warms to it. And as you say, the expense of traveling to meetings, the expense of traveling abroad, you know, if you have a meeting abroad, the Zoom era has definitely helped that. So is there something that you can tell us a little bit about yourself that you probably, you know, people wouldn't know about you? Is there something personal that you love doing other than property?
The only other personal thing that I love doing is holidays. I love my holidays. It's one of those things every time, like this year I had about 4 holidays booked up for this year, and I've been so upset because I haven't been able to do any of them. I've lost money, and it's crazy. But that's one thing, is the adventure of going out, new places, new countries, new food. I love all that. That's one of my must-dos. So I'm building up a list now for once all this lockdown is over, I'm going away.
It's huge personal development and growth there. And as you say, you know, it's different cultures, it's learning different languages, learning about the way of life, etc. Where were these holidays? Where were the destinations?
That I was going to this year, or the ones I've been to? This year I was going to go to Thailand, Turkey. Turkey one was in I can't pronounce the name. It's where the hot air balloons are. So okay. I was really looking forward to that, with hot balloons. I was planning to try and do a Maldives trip if there was no lockdown, like in the next 2 weeks. That's obviously gone into tier 4, so I can't do the Maldives. I was going to try and do a European trip. That's also gone down the window. So there's a lot that I wanted to do this year, which has not happened. But previously, I've done China. I've done Italy in terms of Venice, Milan, Rome, Barcelona. I've done Paris. Yes. Prague, Budapest, India. I've done a little bit of the States. So I think I've done quite a bit, but there's still a lot to adventure. I have a lot to see still.
Where would you say your happy place is?
Oh, my happy place. I haven't been to my happy place yet. If it was somewhere in my comfort zone, my bedroom's my happy place. It's where I know I just feel more comfortable in my bedroom. But I still got to find a holiday destination that's my happy place, because I haven't found that yet for definite.
It sounds as if you're an explorer, so we'd say Dora the Explorer.
Yes, and I think it's part of the benefit of also being single as well, because I don't need to worry about anyone else, like, oh, can they take time off or anything. I can just pack a bag and go and not have to worry about anybody else. So that another benefit has been that I've just been able to pack up and just go whenever I've needed to go and not worry about anybody else as well. So yeah, loads of advantages at the moment.
Yeah, there are. And that's something I share with you, because I love the thrill of being in an airport and knowing that, you know, it's not that long before you'll get to the destination. And it's so lovely to be able to be free enough to travel. Yeah. And now that we're locked down, we appreciate it even more. And I'm sure when everything gets back to normal again, as normal is in terms of what we've gone through, that heightened exploring adventure in us, spirit in us, will come again. And that's the whole point. So I thank you very much for a lovely sort of meeting from Surrey to Swansea.
Thank you for having me.
I wish you well, and I feel very confident for you.
Thank you.
And we'll hear Sajal Patel's name on LinkedIn.
Yes, you sure will. You'll see all my posts next year in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
I'll be following, and perhaps you'll come back and tell us about some of your adventures as well.
Sure will.
Yeah.
I definitely will. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.